Ever gone down a crypto rabbit hole at 2 a.m? Well, I just did. And what I uncovered about the Dogecoin ETF, I'm still kind of deciding if it's genius or absolutely insane. So, here I am, bleary-eyed past midnight, when a buddy of mine from our Discord server pings me, goes, dude, Dogecoin ETF, check DTCC now. Now, my first thought was, this has got to be some kind of late night kind of trolling, right? I mean, Dogecoin, the coin with a Shiba Inu meme, getting its own ETF. It sounded like a prank, right? But my curiosity just got the better of me. And before I knew it, I'm combing through the DTCC website like a detective on a mission. And guess what? There it was, listed on the Depository Trust and Clearing Corporation site. Something called the 21 Shares Dogecoin ETF, ticker TDOG. I couldn't make it up. Seeing Dogecoin and ETF together on an official database kind of felt a bit surreal. So I had to rub my eyes to kind of make sure that I wasn't dreaming up or being delirious from just too much coffee here. And it turns out that this listing was indeed real, a kind of preparatory kind of step for a potential Dogecoin ETF launch. But hold on, it's not like you can just go and buy TDOG shares tomorrow morning. The SEC still hasn't actually approved this Dogecoin ETF. The listing was basically a formality, a bit of a prep move. So think of it like buying all of the ingredients for a big cake, but you cannot start baking until the head chef, in this case, that's the SEC, gives you the go-ahead. Right? Approval timelines? Well, they're totally up in the air. The regulators are being super cautious, and honestly, I don't blame them. Crypto ETFs are kind of a new Wild West for the SEC. Now, at this point, I'm hooked, right? I'm muttering to myself, is this for real? Dogecoin, the joke coin, is about to get an ETF. Now, I remember when Dogecoin was literally created as a joke by two engineers killing time. Now, back then, it was just like a funny internet play money that you would use to kind of tip people for silly comments. Fast forward now, and here we are on the cusp of Wall Street potentially trading a Dogecoin fund. It's kind of like a meme that you made in high school suddenly got listed on the New York Stock Exchange. A mix of pride and what on earth is actually happening. So I dove deeper. Who's behind this TDOG ETF? And it's sponsored by 21 Shares US LLC, which is part of a company known for creating all sorts of crypto investment products. The plan, if the SEC gives the green light, is that this ETF would hold actual Dogecoin, like literally buying and holding Doge, and track its price via some index. And they'd actually have Coinbase Custody Trust, company safeguarding all of the Doge in their vaults. That kind of gave me a bit of a mental image of an Indiana Jones style warehouse, where instead of ancient relics, it's just boxes of Doge coins. Okay, Doge is digital, but you kind of get where my brain is having a little bit of fun with the visual, right? So at this point, I'm thinking, why would anybody want a Dogecoin ETF when you can just buy Dogecoin or any other crypto on a crypto exchange? Then it hit me. A lot of traditional investors are not actually trying to fiddle with crypto wallets or sign up to a crypto exchange that they've never really heard of. An ETF basically means that grandma or your stock trading uncle could actually just go ahead and buy Doge by just basically clicking the ticker in their regular brokerage account. There's no new accounts, there's no handling of a 24-word seed phrase or whatever. It's just straightforward. If investor demand for crypto exposure is in fact rising, then even for the memes, well, it's pretty crazy times. And trust me, the demand is real. This wasn't even the first Dogecoin ETF news to drop this month. Just a week ago, another Dogecoin ETF by Rex and Osprey launched, first of its kind in the United States. And on its very first day, it racked in $17 million in trading volume. Just let that sink in. $17 million exchanging hands for a fund that holds Dogecoin. Now, that debut actually kind of ranked among the top 5 ETF launches of the entire year. Most serious ETFs don't even get anywhere close to that on day one. So, if anyone thought interest in a meme coin was dead, well, the market kind of just laughed and said, hold my beer. Now, here is where things get spicy. Right after that 𝗕𝗓𝗄𝗡 Dogecoin ETF launched, a Bloomberg analyst, Eric, basically went on the record trashing Dogecoin. He was like, Dogecoin has no utility. It was literally created by 2 guys as a joke. It's harsh, right? But I mean, he's not wrong about the origin story. Doge started in 2013 as a kind of parody of crypto hype. But calling it useless, well, the Doge community was not really having it. People came at him like, what do you mean, no utility? Right? We use it for tipping, charity fundraisers. It's the people's crypto. Now, it was a mini kind of Twitter or X or whatever kind of storm. Now, the funny twist is that Eric's kind of backpedaled a little bit the next day. He clarified saying, essentially, hey, I'm fine with meme coins. Just don't treat Dogecoin like it's some kind of serious fundamental asset. It's more like speculative entertainment. Now, in other words, enjoy the ride, but don't start calling Dogecoin the next Visa or something crazy. And honestly, I kind of vibe with that. Dogecoin, to me, has always been a bit of a half financial experiment, half internet culture phenomenon, right? And it's half fun, right? And sometimes it's even fun enough, I should say. And, as long as you're kind of rather clear that fun can be expensive if the market turns south. Just remember 2021. Now, by this point in my late night deep dive, I've got multiple tabs open. I'm reading analysis, price charts, the whole shebang, right? Dogecoin's price, as I'm kind of reading this, is hovering around 24 cents, which, side note, is up about 1% in the last kind of couple of days. But it is down roughly 10% for the week. Now, typical kind of crypto volatility there, right? But here's where it gets really interesting. Some analysts, I stumbled on during this deep dive, are actually bullish in the middle of all of this noise. Now, one analyst named 𝗕𝗓𝗪𝗔𝗥𝗘 pointed out that Dogecoin is consolidating in a bullish triangle pattern. He said, this is a great zone to buy Doge or Dogecoin before this bullish breakout towards 50 cents. Yeah, 50 cents. That's kind of like double from its current price, right? Now, you know what a breakout like that would mean, right? It means that a whole lot of new crypto millionaires are probably an equal number of people posting, and probably equal numbers of people posting rocket emojis all over X. Now, of course, it could also mean that a whole bunch of latecomers buy at 50 cents. And when you watch it drop, it's seen that many times before, right? But the optimism was a little contagious, at least for a second there, I'm not going to lie. I caught myself picturing, what if Doge actually hits $1 this time? And get this, another trader, Mags, believes that Dogecoin is undergoing a final bullish retest. His analysis points towards a potential possible path towards that $1 target, at least if market momentum continues building. Now, final bullish retest basically means that the price might be done with this last dip and ready to roar back up. If the stars align, that is. Now, at this point, I'm practically hearing the chants of Doge to the moon echoing from 2021. Now, if you were around during the spring of 2021, you will remember the $1 Dogecoin dream. It got to about 73 cents at its peak back then. And oh man, those were wild times. I had friends who literally bought a used car with Dogecoin profits, and others who had held long enough, or too long, I should say, actually went back to eating noodles, right? So the $1 target is kind of like that mythical promised land for Dogecoin holders. Hearing serious analysts even mention that number again definitely gave me goosebumps. Now, before I lose myself in all the daydreams of Dogecoin Lambos and moon parties, let me just hit pause here for a second because this might just shock you, but I'm not a financial advisor, and nothing in this video is financial advice. Cryptocurrencies are highly volatile, and you could lose all of the money that you invest. You should always do your own research and consult a qualified professional. After all, your investments are entirely your responsibility, and you should know that nothing is ever guaranteed when it comes to investing. Neither I, this channel, nor YouTube are liable for any losses, and this video is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Alright, deep breath. Why did I feel the need to drop that mouthful of a disclaimer in the middle of this story? Well, it's because when you start talking about 100% gains and moonshot bets, then I don't want anyone to get the wrong idea. I'm just here sharing a journey, not handing out treasure maps. Hopefully we're all cool with that. So let's get back to our adventure. By now it's like 3 AM, I'm neck deep in all of this stuff, and I realize there's this crazy tug of war going on, hype versus reality. Now, on one hand, I've got this genuine kind of steps towards legitimizing Dogecoin. And I mean, an ETF listing with the DTCC is a pretty serious business, and you have millions of dollars pouring into Dogecoin funds on day one. Not to mention companies adding Doge to their treasury reserves. Yeah, I found that too. Apparently, one firm grabbed 100 million Dogecoins for its treasury and now holds over 600 million coins. Right? Even one of Elon Musk's lawyers is out here kind of raising $200 million for a Dogecoin-focused investment company. I mean, when I read that, I nearly had to do a spit take with my coffee. Like, is this real life? Institutions are actually intrigued by a meme coin to the point of hoarding it. But on the other hand, the reality, Dogecoin is still incredibly risky and speculative as ever before. The SEC isn't exactly doing cartwheels to approve these kind of ETFs. In fact, the SEC has extended the review period for some of Dogecoin ETF applications into November of 2025. And it's not just Doge applications either. Right? Applications for ETFs tied to Solana, Litecoin, XRP, you name it. They're all stacking up, waiting for the regulator's nod. So it's like a huge kind of backlog of, at least at the crypto ETF DVM, if you will. Meanwhile, of course, everyone is just betting and biting their nails, I should say, because any of those could be denied or delayed even further. So picture me then at 3:30 AM, kind of delirious at this point, switching between feeling like this is it, Doge is entering the big leagues, to this could all go absolutely nowhere if the SEC says no. There's a very real scenario where the SEC just keeps kicking the can down the road. I mean, they've done it before. They can cite all sorts of compliance rules, like NASDAQ rule 5711D, right? Whatever that means. So the point is, regulators are super conservative, especially when it comes to something that started as a joke and a meme. Now, throughout all of this wild and whole roller coaster of a journey, I was kind of just chatting with people in our free educational Discord server. Here's a shameless plug. There's a link in the description. Come and join us. Anyway, some people in Discord were just laughing, like, bruh, an ETF for Doge? Peak clown world that I'm in here, right? Others were genuinely excited, right? Saying that they would throw a little bit of fun money into it if it gets approved, just for the culture. And of course, there were the cautious voices too. This will pump and dump so fast if it ever launches. Now, getting those kind of diverse takes was pretty awesome. It kind of really grounded me, right? That's why I love the community. You get both the hype and the healthy skepticism all in one place. I even went on Blowfin Crypto's exchange to kind of check the live Dogecoin market. That's one of the exchanges that I use, by the way, and there is an affiliate link down in the description that supports the channel here at no extra cost to yourself if you do want to check them out. Anyway, the price didn't explode or do anything crazy after the DTCC news, which tells me that smart money knows that this is just a listing and not an approval. At least not yet. If anything, Doge was just kind of chilling in its normal range. Maybe a little bump, but nothing, parabolic. Now, it kind of shows that how markets have matured, or maybe it's just exhausted. Because, a couple years ago, a hint of an ETF, people probably would be market buying Doge like there is no tomorrow. Now, I also peeked over at BitGet's crypto exchange for any spikes in trading volume. That's another exchange that I use, and I do have an affiliate link for them down below as well if you're curious. And of course, using it does help support the channel here, so thank you in advance. Anyway, again, nothing kind of earth-shattering to watch there, right? Which to me is good because it means that we're not totally in a bubble mode on pure rumors alone, right? And it's kind of like everyone is kind of cautiously optimistic, but also a little bit jaded from the previous false alarms. So what is the climax then of all of this whole deep dive saga? Well, honestly, it was a bit of a weird moment where I kind of pushed back my chair, stared at my screen full of Dogecoin charts and news, and I just had to laugh, right? I had this kind of realization that we live in a world now where even a joke currency invented for laughs is on the brink of getting a freaking ETF in the United States market. I just think about that. It's absurd and it's amazing all at the same time, right? The line between satire and reality in crypto is, well, paper thin. And somehow Dogecoin, the coin that features a dog meme and started basically an internet kind of tip token, has actually outshined hundreds of serious projects and might actually get an institutional nod. Now, I'm not going to lie to you guys, that realization gave me a bit of a strange kind of hope. Not necessarily that Doge will hit $1, I mean it might not, but hope that, at least in the sense that innovation and change often comes from the most unexpected places. If a silly little meme coin can make its way to Wall Street, then what's stopping any of us from kind of taking our wild, unconventional ideas and just running with them? Right? There's a life lesson in this somewhere. Or maybe I've just had way too little sleep and just too much caffeine. Either way, it was a kind of perspective shift that I just didn't see coming. As kind of dawn was literally breaking, I had to kind of wrap up this journey for my own little sanity here. Right, here's the takeaway from chasing this Dogecoin ETF hype. Sometimes the craziest dreams reveal some pretty important truths. Dogecoin's tale taught me that even in a market as tech-driven as crypto, sentiment and culture can be just as powerful as the code and the utility. Sure, Dogecoin might be useless on paper, but as a community, a brand, a vibe, and apparently that's worth something, right? Now, maybe even billions of dollars and a spot on the stock exchange. But, and this is a big but, it also reminded me not to go and get blinded by all of the hype. For every person dreaming of a Dogecoin windfall, there's someone who kind of bought high and is left holding a bag. The SEC might still reign on this parade too. Peer approvals might not even come when we actually want them to. And even if they do, there's no guarantee that Dogecoin's price will moon. Right? It could even be a buy the rumor and sell the news kind of scenario where the hype pumps it up and the actual launch is kind of anticlimactic. Now we have to be ready for any outcome. So, will I be buying Dogecoin ETF if it launches? Honestly, maybe just with a tiny amount of fun money, like the kind of cash that I would otherwise spend on a few fancy lattes, just so that I can say that I'm part of the first meme coin ETF saga. But I'm not going to be betting the farm on it. I've learned that lesson enough times over. Either way though, I am glad that I went down this rabbit hole. It started with skepticism and ended with me kind of appreciating how weird and wonderful this crypto space is. From a late night Discord ping to scanning official filings and Twitter drama, all for a coin that literally has a dog as its logo. And you can't make that stuff up. So if you've enjoyed coming down this little rabbit hole with me and this adventure with me, then you can do me a solid here. You can smash that like button, you can subscribe for more, and I will catch you all in the next one.